Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Let Me Clear My Throat podcast. It's your boy, Mike, back with you. Just wanted to recap the NCAA tournament. And, man, I got to pat myself on the back a little bit. Um, Looking at my tournament, I got the two final teams correct in Florida and Houston. I did have them uh, in my final two, and but I have Florida winning on tonight. But uh, just want to do a little quick recap and maybe preview of tonight's game. Um, of course, if you're in Memphis, we've been dealing with the weather and the flooding that's been going on. So on that Saturday night, we were dealing with a whole lot of rain, a whole lot of tornadoes, and we hope and pray that everybody was safe uh, during that time. So the Florida and Auburn game on Saturday was, I guess you could say, interrupted by News Channel 3, the majority, if not the majority of the time, at least the first game. The whole entire game of Auburn and Florida, uh, we did not hear any type of analysis at all because of tornado coverage. Uh, Seemingly out of our viewing area, out of the Memphis area, but more so south toward Mississippi. And so there are a lot of fans, basketball fans, um, that were upset about that. And a few weather meteorologists have uh, stated their put their 2 cents in on on why they had to do it and the importance of it. And I get it. They're doing their job. They're doing their best to save lives. I think you know the important thing is to keep everyone safe. I just think you know everyone, for the most part, at least that I know of, has a cell phone or um, and they can easily use the app as opposed to the weatherman um, on the complete on for the complete game. Uh, that could have been an adjustment, but anyway, we move on. Florida and Auburn. It was a good game. Uh, Florida just made some really big clutch plays down the stretch. I mean, Walter Clayton. He everyone's trying to compare him to an NBA guard. I see a mixture of Aaron Murray in this game, a mixture of Donovan Mitchell a little bit. Uh, but he's just a really good guard, and he's not afraid to shoot it. He's a transfer. We talked about transfer. We did a whole episode on the transfer portal. I believe he was a transfer from Iona, and Rick Pitino was a coach at the time at Iona before he uh, transferred and moved on to St. John's. So uh, we see how it works both ways for coaches and players. Um, but Walter Clayton, he's been doing his thing the entire season and into the tournament. Coach Golden for the Florida Gators is doing a phenomenal job this year. And I mean, really, I guess you could say it's between him and Kelvin Sampson for Coach of the Year. Houston, likewise, is doing a great job. He's doing a great job and defeating Duke. And in the end, called the AAC the Kid Poodle League. That's right, the Kid Poodle League, which I thought was funny. Uh, and I think a lot of people on media, sports media, thought that was funny as well. Penny has long advocated the difficulty of that league and how challenging that league is, but it's true. Kevin Sampson is not wrong. It is the Kid Poodle League. Um, but he credits the Big 12 for just making them tougher. I mean, Houston just over the years has won with their culture, their hard work, and their will to win. And one stat that kept coming out was the fact that Memphis and Penny Hardaway, Penny has been the only coach to really defeat Houston um, and beat Kelvin Sampson. And I think in the series over the last, I want to say, about maybe the last 7 or 8 years, I think the series probably Houston's probably won 7, and Memphis I think it's won at least 4. Uh, but I believe Penny has at least 2 or 3 of those wins versus Houston. So I mean, hey, I mean that's a notch, for Penny. Is one way, he's I guess in recruiting maybe that would help him out. I don't think being labeled a Kid Poodle League helps in recruiting uh, for the other teams and for Memphis even maybe, but it just shows the importance that Memphis we need to move on to another conference, a tougher conference. And I've been thinking about, several factors or what's the reason why. Is it student attendance? The story came out that we had under 7,000 for the FedEx Forum this year, which was another low, uh, which is disappointing to hear. But I'm sure that plays a factor in it. Football attendance, I don't know if it's, I mean, we're winning ball games. We're not winning conference championships in football. I think, hopefully we can do it this year, but, we'll see. I really would like to see us in the ACC. Uh, but, hey, Big 12, if we can get in there also, I think that'll help us a lot. I've often thought about the women's basketball team. Does that play a role? Does success of our other athletic programs, does that play a role in us getting into a bigger conference, or at least conference that's going to benefit us the most? But back to the tournament. We have Florida versus Houston, and well, let me go back. Houston, I didn't touch on Houston versus Duke. So Duke, I watched the first half, and I'm gonna be honest, I fell asleep during the second half. Had a long day on Saturday, but I mean, Duke looked like they were in control for the majority of the game on versus Houston. I mean, Houston historically has been offensively challenged, uh, and they weren't making a lot of shots. But going into halftime, I believe they were only down 6 or 8 points. But Duke Once that they led by 14 points with 8 minutes left. They're led by 9 with 2 minutes left. They're led by 6 with 34 seconds left. They're led by 3 with 25. And they're led by 1 with 19 seconds left. So Duke was pretty much in control of the game, but they just could not score, I believe, in the last 9 minutes. So it was just Houston just made it difficult for them to score in the last 9 minutes. And it 40 minutes of defense, Houston, they suffocate you. It's just what they do with hard work. And when you got a mixture of young and a few older players on the Duke team, obviously Cooper Flagg, Player of the Year, #1 overall. I mean, the best player in college basketball, Cooper Flagg. You should win that game. There really isn't an excuse not to win that game the way that Duke was playing. I mean, they had the lead. They had a 14-point lead. They were mostly in control of the game, but Houston and their grit and grind, if I can use that term to describe how they play, looking at how just been watching videos of how Kevin Sampson coaches and how they practice with them diving for loose balls and the hustle plays, and the things that they practice, listening to the players and how they want to be coached by Kelvin Sampson, to play hard and to go above and beyond, hustling, getting all the 50-50 balls, diving on the floor. Uh, that's just their style. And so we're going to see tonight versus Florida which style is going to win. We got 40 minutes of defense versus dynamic offense. The game is in San Antonio, so this is a home game for Houston. It's a lot of pressure on Houston. Will they respond? Florida, essentially, they've been labeled the best team, and most people have picked them to win the game anyway. But I think they walk into this game with really nothing to lose. Um, you know, so they may walk into this game and be expected to lose, just based on the fact that Houston has home field advantage. So it's going to be a fun game tonight. I'm definitely going to have my popcorn ready, uh, get my snacks together, and I'm going to enjoy this game, Duke versus Florida. I'm gonna still stick with my pick. Obviously, I think that Florida will pull this out. It will be a close game. Would not be surprised if this game does not reach 70 to 80 points. Actually, it might be whoever reaches 70 points first wins the game. But I think it'll stay probably in the 60s. I think this game is going to be played tight. Hopefully the referees don't, intervene and, call up a ticky-tack foul like they did against Cooper Flagg in the final seconds of minutes of the Duke game. And it's entertaining. Very briefly, with that out of the way, the women's, they played their game on yesterday, UConn versus South Carolina. And I started to get on and just give a few thoughts on the game, but decided to hold off on that because one of the questions that was asked was, well, why isn't the game played in prime time? And based on the score, I mean, that's the reason why. Uh, as it was in the first matchup, second matchup in the championship game, UConn 82-59. It's not pretty. I know South Carolina is embarrassed. South Carolina just could not do anything right. They could not score. They just had no inside presence. UConn just looked like a well-oiled machine. I mean, they were cutting. I mean, shooting lights out from three. Their offense just looked very fluid. Uh, UConn is just loaded with talent from top to bottom. I mean, Paige Beckers goes out with a championship, and she's had to endure a lot of injuries and setbacks in her UConn career, but she walks out champion. And this UConn team is not going away anytime soon. Uh, they're going to be in the mix probably next year. And Juju Jackson, what is she going to do? How is she going to approach next year with the torn ACL? We know Miles from, I don't want to get her first name wrong, from Notre Dame. She was projected the number 2 pick, and she decided to come back. And, that is a really unique situation. We know that the WNBA is in the midst of a labor dispute right now. And so she decides to come back, but she also decides to transfer, which a whole lot of speculation behind why she would do that. Why she would decide to transfer, but I mean, she's accomplished. She can do whatever she wants to do. I'm sure there's some NIL money just waiting for her to take and take advantage of. And it'd be interesting to see where she decides to go. I think about this year for the women's season compared to last year. I mean, last year was the Caitlin Clark fandom, I guess, season. And this year, there are a lot of players that we could celebrate, but I just don't feel like they marketed them enough throughout the season and throughout the tournament. And Gino, the UConn coach, made reference to the fact that the experience of the NCAA in regards to the women's basketball is just not the same as the men's. And I agree. They only have 2 regional sites. And so, the first 2 rounds, you're playing in Connecticut if you're on that side of the bracket. Or, if South Carolina was number 1, you be in that bracket. You be in that be playing in South Carolina for the first 2 rounds. And that's really just not an advantage for the fans of the opposing teams during the NCAA tournament. It's almost like, okay, you all are women, and we're just gonna let y'all go on ahead and get y'all games out the way, and we're gonna get to the Sweet 16 where all the best 16 teams are there, and we're just gonna go from there. That's just what it seems like uh, to me, how what the approach is. Um, there just what didn't seem to me as a lot of marketability for the women's game this year. The WNBA seems to be poised to be on more television, more get more TV time. But I think it starts with the NCAA. You start with the college game, and you kind of just improve and collaborate and go through there. I think it's great that the WNBA is expanding and adding more teams because there are a lot of players out there. Some players that aren't getting the opportunities. Some women that aren't getting the opportunity to play because just the lack of teams. And so I think it's great that they're expanding to Vegas and possibly Canada and other places around the country. I think Nashville has been floated around as a potential spot, um, and in a few places out west in Canada. Obviously, they may add a team also, but I really would like to see the women's college game market their players more. Uh, it's more than just Juju. It's more than just Caitlin Clark. I mean, Juju Watkins didn't. I don't think she got the same love or fanfare as Caitlin Clark. Certainly didn't get enough attention like Caitlin Clark did. But you know, it's areas for improvement. And so uh, hopefully that improves. I think UConn obviously going to be favored next year. It'll be interesting to see how the rest of the teams shake out. Will there be parity, or are we looking at another UConn run of 3 or 4 years of UConn championships? Um, every year, it seems like the women have been shortchanged in the tournament when it comes to the tournament, and I think there will come a time for Gino, maybe even Don Staley, and other NCAA coaches to step down from their position of coaching to improving the areas that they see need the most improvement so that the women and the men's games are equal from an experience standpoint, at least. Um, so hopefully that happens. I think the women definitely deserve it. They put in just as much work as the men do. They play a very disciplined form of basketball, a very that's underappreciated, uh, and their game is definitely a little bit cleaner. Uh, sticking to fundamentals and things like that. I think the best is yet to come for the WNBA and for college women's basketball. But we are just going to enjoy the game despite everything that's going on around us politically or wherever you are in whatever city you're in. Sports, has a way of binding us and bringing us together. Hopefully, we can dispel all the rhetoric and violence and political jargon and fussing that's going on, and just enjoy tonight's championship game. Duke Florida. Florida Gators versus Houston tonight. It's going to be a late tip, too, I think. But we're going to enjoy that game tonight. And at the same time, NBA, as you can see, is getting close to playoff time. I believe for most teams have 4 games left, 3 to 5 games left in the regular season. So the play-in is going to be starting, I believe, next week, and we're going to have another podcast previewing the playoff matchups because it's going to be fun on the East and the West. We're going to have some very intriguing matchups that we're going to be watching and looking forward to. So a lot of exciting things to see there. But I'm going to end it right here with that. And the next podcast will most likely be an NBA preview. Might hop on the pod with Greg Rufus and his DR Productions Throw It Down Big Fella podcast. Make sure you check him out. Subscribe to my podcast. Let Me Clear My Throat. Like and subscribe. You can find me on Facebook. Put out a few quick reels on Instagram and on Facebook and on YouTube today about the Houston Rockets and the Detroit Pistons, as well as the Memphis Grizzlies and what they're doing with interim coach T.I. You know what it is, Coach T.I. And some really good content you don't want to miss out on what we got playing, me and Greg in the future, collaborating and working together on our podcast. But be that as it may, everyone stay safe out there. Enjoy the games. And we can agree to disagree, but let's agree respectfully. Have a nice day.